Hello, my name is Creostix, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Well, the first game of the two games, the Great Ace Attorney Adventures, maybe is the first one. Episode 2, The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band. Interesting. Let's go. Sure. Let's do. We are on a steamship, as well, or a cruise liner, steam.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The Speckled Band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which she referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
There we go. I had heard that this game is very, like, that one of the characters is essentially Sherlock Holmes, but that is indeed quite on the money. Yeah, I think it's like writings of the victim, yeah?
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery.
Wait, wasn't there a dent in the...
In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script.
Sound mind, I
And
think.
evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait!
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What?
Don't be absurd. This is murder.
Absurd?
And in cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Holmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
Aww. Well, here we are then. My head is throbbing. It is a the case of the throbbing head. Yes. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Wait, I can't move. We are the murder suspect again. I had a feeling. What the? Why am I in handcuffs? So you wake up now, We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. Again, yeah, here we go again. You. Ha, you found me then. Da, we found you. And now you pay. Criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe? Sorry. Now you have been found, it is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Hi. Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Mr. Sato? Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Kazuma's dead. Dun, dun, dun. Just like Miafe in the first one. I had a feeling that's possible, but I was wondering if it would like follow the same line. Ha! You pretend you not know you are a wolf in the sheep's pelt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. But what about the katana? There we are, there's the katana. Here in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from the inside. His body? But his magic bandana is supposed to protect him from all of the problems in the world, yes? Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs? Surely don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No, not again. That's a lot of O's. Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago when I really was mesmerized by your bandana. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Ha 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 ha. Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was gonna die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Migatoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer? No, I'm not a murderer. Da, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Susato-san? Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you too. Ugh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try and find out what really happened. Alright, Kazuma's death, let's go. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs? They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died. The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So, presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then. That's true, yes. Alright. Okay, so who's gonna channel Kazuma this time? Maybe the sergeant's baby is gonna be like, do, I'm a spirit medium, and here we go. About the incident. Let's go. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. If you could sense that he wouldn't come, then maybe he needed some sort of outside encouragement. Yes. Does that mean I was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder? Stalker, that too. I knocked, but there was no reply. And I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside... There was Kazuma-sama collapsed on the floor. And judging from the cinematic, this Sherlock Holmes version is a bumbling moron as well. Because he just assumed that the person who wrote the message was Russian, but, I mean, Kazuma is not Russian, so he could speak it, I don't know, but that's different. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. Secondly, again, we've had like 17 cases where the murderer has written something in the victim's, like with the victim's finger, so who the hell knows. I had no idea anything that happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. It is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know. So it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. Again, why did you do it? Like, I didn't, come on. Ugh, my head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Alright, stowaway, let's go. She must not like Ryu very much. I mean, she thinks that Ryu killed the bandana boy, so you know. Why are we even on board the ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. For great adventure. Yeah, he actually asked you? Yes, we were supposed to have the Great Ace Attorney adventures. Yes. But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? Well, because he wanted you to become the Great Ace Attorney in England. Surely. It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I, that you ought to become a lawyer yourself? Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Okay. Fair enough. Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system, and he failed. I'm 100 years from the future, it's all a failure, I'm sorry. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. He was darker than I have ever seen it before. Even when he was sure that I would be convicted of murder, it was quite odd. Yes. Susato-san, I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you, my stowing away on this ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. Last night. If you're not the culprit, then tell me. What happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. That's a good start. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. Well, yes. So deeply that he didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed. Well, yes. Drugged, probably? Come on now. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament, and perhaps Kazuma wouldn't be dead, but so it goes. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please forget it. Sato-san, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there's no one else who could possibly have done this. Of course there is. In every single Ace Attorney game, in the future, the past, all of the game series, there's always there's always a multitude of people who could have done it. Come on now. Ugh. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Ugh, I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but I'm not the person. But Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And I'm supposed to just sit around? My hands tied while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? Well, I propose we find the lady who was the Kurare murderer and pin this on her, and I think justice is served that way, yes? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Yeah. What the? That was a Susato takedown. An RKO, if you will. Out of nowhere. A Susato what? A martial art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. Well, for one, I was in a wardrobe with the, note in front of the door, put there by the victim himself. Ergo, I can't be the murderer. The end. The timeline doesn't add up. I can't go in there after the fact and then have the victim post-mortem put the note on the door. Come on now. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already what you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. Well, this one. This is the paper seal I wrote for the wardrobe. I remember really working hard to make it. But I'll never forget how Kazuma reacted. Do you expect the Russian crew to be able to read that? He said. Still, I was sure people would get the idea, even if they couldn't read it. So we used it anyway. I mean, honestly, getting the idea, not really, no. How could you steal that yourself? Yeah, exactly my thoughts. That is... And how come Sholmes didn't figure that out means he's some bumbling moron. That's fine. And it worked. I don't know if the crew thought it was creepy or what, but no one opened the doors. You can see the remnants of the glue we used to stick this over the wardrobe doors. Although it wasn't proper glue, of course, we didn't have any of that with us. So I pulverized some rice into a paste to use it instead. But to a stowaway like me, every single grain of rice represents precious rations. That's why I spread it as thinly as I possibly could. I couldn't bear to waste any. Alright, couldn't you just like use, I don't know, saliva or something? I don't know. Alright. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. Surely it's my collar pen! It says I'm innocent! Yes.
Yes!
Yes! Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes it was. I remember it clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah! Yes, of course! The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. Maybe he did it. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me out? Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least. Thank you, so you finally believe me. I'm sorry, no. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. Oh, Jesus. I mean, is magic real in this game as well? But, like, as far as I know, that's about as conclusive as evidence gets, so... I hate to break it to you, but that is you being unreasonable right now. Come on. Come on. Ah, Jesus. Alright, let's go. But does she think I am a magician? A warlock? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. I mean, you're clearly unreasonable, I can respect that, as most people are in this game series, that's fine. Oh. I shall be watching you, to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. Oh no, I'll just pick up everything into my pockets, it'll be fine. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Yes, the well-known lawyer trick of using magic to destroy a crime scene. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here, examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will... Avengers, assemble your death. Alright, let's go. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. Good question. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried out a little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it, what is it, I wonder? It has sort of a brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Oh dear, that won't do. We need bricks in the cabin. Oh, what's the matter, Zazu-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Ah, yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? I'm sure you're careful to look around using B and M, aren't you? Yes. It's important to always use B and M when you're on a ship in 1890s Japan. I think it's also in the logbook of the early 1900s. In like when you go to the Titanic, it says in the crew members' guide, like, use B and M to yes. Now let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Let's go. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. B and M, how does that make any sense? Like, the buttons on a keyboard are scattered all around. Like, it's weird. That's fine. Okay. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria. Late needs an FOV slider. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Needs to visit the old config.ini, right? Strictly forbidden, right? What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure, either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. Oh, cool, it checks them off, that's helpful. A pet, sure. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. Oh no. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mown down at once. I wonder if... perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps... it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. Lady, if you're not gonna say anything reasonable, then maybe just don't say anything. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Like, I hate to be a salty boy, but I presented her with irrefutable evidence that it was impossible for me to be the culprit. And then she's just like, well, maybe you did it. Well, maybe you did it, though. Well, maybe you did it, though. But maybe it was you who did it in a fit of rage. And I'm like... come on. Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Why would you disturb the crowd? Okay. I don't think that was a smart thing to do, but okay. Well, we've now disturbed the crime scene, sure. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese. Which in hindsight, I should have realized with the foreign crewmen wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Gotta tidy this up, yeah. Damn, son. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it's impossible that she did it alone. Theoretically, somebody could have sealed Urinosuke in after the murder, but that doesn't seem to be what she's thinking. Like, she just feels like she just like she seems to be thinking, okay, so he proved that he didn't do it, therefore he must have done it. And I'm like, I mean, it still remains a locked room mystery, so if we take the locked room idea that she seems to be holding on to, that is what she, like, said before. Like, she said, you're the only one who could have done it, quote unquote. Therefore, she doesn't believe in an accomplice anyway. So she's just like, well, since you couldn't have done it, then you must have done it. Maybe in a fit of rage you did it. And I'm like, lady, speak sensible things, please. Come on. Well, it was less painful than a Sato takedown. Alright. Haha. Seiki, the Japanese word for justice. Speak sense or not at all. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet you... Can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship. I was asked to. By the Justice Man, so there you go. Now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. Sword! That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. Suspicious to be innocent. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it up on this ship, on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he is gone, but I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Can we take the sword? I wish to take the sword to honor his spirit, so I can cleave people in twain when they're in cahoots, to honor the spirit. Yes, I think that works. That's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty. Sorry. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? For great trustice, cut every twain, yeah. I'm not a dog, Susaru-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right, so he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no! Does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? Honestly, that might not be a terrible thing, because I'm under the understanding that sometimes the dead people might evacuate themselves, if you will, so, you know, it's maybe more dignified if he was with an empty belly. Just saying. It's just too horrible. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Oops, sorry. There. There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still. No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama. No. I proved not, Lady Shush. The knife isn't the thing to... Did Kazuma-sama write that before he died? Oh, I was looking at the body, not the writing, but alright. It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. I don't know, but let's see if we can find out. Hold on. Okay, so let's assume it might be Russian, right? Cyrillic? Yeah, probably. My automatic translating thing is not really helping. It's saying stuff like tasa epoe, which doesn't sound super helpful. Tapa epoe. Let my dying words be tapa epoe. I have no idea. Not sure what that could be. I felt like that was a good plan, right? Poor Kazuma-sama, no doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments. Tapae poe. Who the hell knows, man? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I know how to transliterate a little Greek, but there's a lot of Cyrillic that I have no idea about. However, the P are actually R, and the first letter I think is a G. Yeah. Sounds about right. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? Isn't he Japanese? Yeah, but there's no reason to think people wouldn't be multilingual. Like, I can read and write like 3 languages, so, you know. It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? The thing is, like, is it Russian or Ukrainian or something else? So who, like, you know, it's... Everything looks Russian to a non-speaker, you know? Okay. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma, he didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means, what, he was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says, it could be a valuable clue. Hiya! That's out of the question. I will allow you to put your paws all over the shelf, but not the book. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important, something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Wow. So lady, that's the extent of how much you care about the death of Kazuma. Like, you have these idiotic norms that you cannot break, even to find out who killed your dear Kazuma-sama. Good God. I'm liking this character less and less already. Yeah, like, come on. Like, I'm all up for quirky characters, but I'm kind of had it up to here with the really bumbling detective from the first case, and this lady is starting to irk me pretty bad. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either, but in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? Yes! Good God, man, come on! It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe in the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. Right. I think that's some kind of an opening for a ventilator. So, was the murderer a monkey who escaped from the ventilation shaft? A hole through which the fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Lady, I'm malnourished and dehydrated. You're the first human I've seen or spoke to in 2 weeks, and I'm not pleased about that. Yeah. Yes, it would appear to, you're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that. I suppose, maybe that's it. Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Yes, we Europeans can be identified from our habit of being upside down on desks. It's a very usual national pastime. Yes. Oh, how did he? You noticed the man too, have you? I've no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall. Yep, a strange man appears. Hell yeah. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Honestly, so far, I am not impressed. I like the gadgets, but he's made about 3 or 4 wrong conclusions in the intro cinematic alone. Well, no, I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. Doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press space on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright, then I get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. He's no Sherlock Holmes, yeah? Oh, please do. Okie dokie. Excuse me. Ahem, do you have a moment? Shush, This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Greetings, I hope I haven't kept you long. Ah! It is the Deerstalker man from Mega Man 13. Let's get him. What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry. What do you see? I feel like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything's clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. Does that mean that they crystallize because they don't move about and they get bad? You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I guess this is a take on Sherlock Holmes. Alright. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. Very much mistaken, my good sir. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Yeah. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? Oh, God. But of course, I rate many things. There's no mystery, my dear madam, for example. You have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. Aha. Why do you think that, my dude? You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now you travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. Aha. And when the beribboned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now, nothing deceives these eyes. I think everything escapes and deceives those eyes. Honestly, if I was this guy after talking to Kimono and Jank Sherlock, I'd just climb back into my box. Yeah, kinda, yeah. Such horrible things they're going to do to one of my beloved characters. Yeah. I know. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? Is it you? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. Lady, just listen. With all due respect, just shush. I'm so done with your take on this situation, please. What? And you're plotting a revolution too. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen. There's no way And she also just assaults people. I think that's a number of felonies right there. I think she needs to go cool down in a prison cell for a few decades. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. You're not gonna believe me anyway, so why bother? You're gonna believe whatever nonsense Schmurlock shitface here is gonna keep telling you about Afghanistan and whatever, so maybe just, you know, don't. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, was I not right? Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Maybe. Ha, there you have it, you see. What do you make of that, hmm? Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. Ah. I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. Your name is Moron, the moron of the London morons? Is that what you are? I'm none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women of the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Holmes. So it's really you, the actual Sherlock Holmes? The very same, the inimitable actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world, Naruhodo-san. Of course I do, there's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? I'm not sure I want to talk to him, but here we go. Great detective. So you're a great detective, are you not? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Moron. Oh, I see. You're German? Moron, was it? No. I have no more. I have hair. Call me idiot. Ah, yes. Idiot, yes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rand magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Ah yes, here it is. The Adventures of Idiot Moron. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You do know he's dead, yes? Your biographer died, I mean, assuming you're talking about Wilson. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. By this very moment, I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Oh boy, which country did you topple by doing the wrong deductions? Oh boy. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. No! Seriously only in the sense that he is a serious threat to reality. He's like the Fox News of detectives. Like, just no. Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is without fail the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction and fame. Well, fame maybe, beyond that, not really anything. That is what makes me the one and only moron idiot. Yes. Alright, Kazuma's death. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. I didn't know they had cosplay and bath salts back then. Yeah, it was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Moron Idiot. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. Yes, we should probably throw him overboard and never just talk about this ever again. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Moron Idiot, was on board. And the handcuff seems to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really, two facts you say? Ah boy. I'm honestly a tiny little bit upset that they went in this direction for a Sherlock Holmes take. Like, I'm a big fan of the character, like, in the, in many of his more usual forms, and this is kind of blasphemous, if anything. Like, I can't quite get behind this take. Like, it's so... and I'm kind of... At this point in the game, I'm really missing, like, a voice of reason. Like, Kazuma was a little bit of that, yeah, sure, but there's so many just bumbling idiots. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like when I played the other games, the other ones had a bit more of a balance of some level of intelligence in the NPCs, you know? Like, Franziska was evil, but at least she was smart. She was a smart cookie who was on the ball, right? Edgeworth started out as kind of bad, got a redemption arc, and remained at all times a smart boy, right? In here, we're like 8 hours in, and apart from Kazuma and in some ways the Professor Mikotoba, I think, we've had endless dialogue by absolute idiots. Like, oh man. You can't write a play if everyone's the fool. Yeah, I kind of... That's a really good way to put it. Like, that's an excellent way to nail down my point. I'm getting a little tired of the fools in this one. Like, I need someone who's... Like, I need my Auron of this game or something to just speak sense. Just... It's such a... I don't know. It gets so silly, it's kind of hard to get into it at this point a little bit, you know? Mr. Moron, tell us please, what two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes. Let us first be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. We've already seen the ventilation shaft, so I don't know, man. That doesn't sound right. Number 2, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. No and no. Hold on, idiot. What made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That is a Russian word for wardrobe. Thanks. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left the dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian? No, he wasn't. Ryunosuke, come on, wake up. Don't believe anything this one says. Come on. Come on. Initially, I considered Garderobe maybe the name of the killer, a certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided... I mean, Harmo did mention it like it might be a G at the beginning, so who knows, right? Quite so, I found you the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Hold on, I'll check the history again, just to... But in the interests of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong to not look inside the wardrobe there at least. Right. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. Wow. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. So, like, another problem with everyone being the fool is that the game uses a lot of time into explaining out absolute nonsense and false clues instead of like focusing on the actual facts and stuff and actual clues, you know? Like it's not a good way to approach a detective game. Like it's essentially having an Ace Attorney game where all the dialogue is delivered to you by Mo the Clown from Case 3 in the Justice for All game. It's just like although Mo was annoying but not an idiot, I think. Maybe more like, I don't know. Like the combination of the ignorance of the lion tamer and the obnoxiousness of the ventriloquist character. Like, a combination of those two is what essentially every person has been, like, talking like, apart from Kazuma and, like, the professor for a bit in the interims of the first case. Like, it's focusing on such nonsense points all the time. It's kind of, I don't know. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people. I had no... Sasato, come on. Like, this is what I mean, like, there's no... It's so silly it's hard to get into this, you know? And I had no idea Detective could get something so wrong. Like, I don't know, like, why, but for some reason I thought Ace Attorney just... There's something... It didn't... I finished all the mainline games. They don't strike me as this silly. Like they have a plenty of quirky characters. Don't get me wrong. And we have interviewed a parrot in the first game, for example. Like, don't get me wrong. Silly moments, silly characters, quirky people. That's fine. But this is kind of all of them are a little too stupid and a little just too much of the game's time is meandering about really stupid points. Like these, well, you are clearly a Russian doobly-doo and a doobly-doo and a Russian and a doobly-doo. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Miss Mr. Since when do you call me Mr. Naruhodo who thinks I killed Kazuma? Oh, yes, thank you. So again, this is the traditional Ace Attorney thing of the killer used the victim's hand to write that thing. That's obvious. It's been done so many times. Can I ask you something, Mr. Moron? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary feeling from Russia and all of that... Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? And why did that train simultaneously both not leave the station and also derailed in a big corner? Like, how does that work? Certainly, if it interests you. How many times I'm not Russian and I don't speak Russian? Your deduction just now. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean. Ah, the now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part? Ah yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Alright. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads... Revolutionary violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. I think it's probably villain Bolshevik. Yeah. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? Like, we keep meandering in this... It sounds like Mr. Sholmes... No, I'm sorry. Mr. Moron has concluded that he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. Mr. Sato, surely you understand that this man knows nothing. Please, come on. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you. Villain Bolshevik. No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Like a play on villain. Yeah, probably. Or a villain. Yeah. But like, I think, I'm pretty sure... Like, I know a couple of Russian people. And, you know, in Finland, they're, you know, I, went to school with a boy with a fully Russian name and all that. I don't, like, I think it's an attempt to go on, I agree with you, it's an attempt to go on villain. But I think it's pronounced more like villain. So it's like, you're right, yes. I think it's just like, it's a bit of a clumsy pun on the game's part though, because it's kind of like, you know, here we are. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned how to revolutionize your appearance as well. Please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list, need I say more? You would need to say more to prove your case, but I kind of hope you would never speak anything again, though. Like, ever. Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details, the 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and imprinted all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting, Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspapers reporters, I wonder? Like, for anyone wondering, as far as I understand, the name Bolshevik is a take on... There is like a soup called borscht soup in Russia. And then, the Bolshevik, B-O-L-S, so on, Bolshevik is like a political, you know, revolutionary in the, I'm gonna say 1910s, 1920s, late 1910s, when the revolution in Russia happened and the emperor fell.
I never asked for this.
Thank you for the host, Since much appreciated. And the Bolsheviks came into power, and that's a take on that. So it's a Bolshevik in that sense. So it's just yeah, kind of a traditional stew thing. Yeah. Like if you know Lenin, like he was a Bolshevik, if that helps. Do revolutionaries agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. That has been war-torn for quite some time, hasn't it? Yeah, over history. Where even is it anyway? Oh, come on. This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself. There's a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thanks. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. Article on the front page of a Russian newspaper. The headline reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Right. Yeah, he led the Bolshevik revolution. Japan does love their puns. They tickle me a bit, but we're still on the joke I made about my dying birds in Russian like half an hour ago. Yeah. And you may find the article on the back page of the interest as well. On the back. Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, but you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian, I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt to just glance at the article, maybe there might be a picture or two. What were you investigating? Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London Diary. Kazuma was keeping notes on the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. So, Susato-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san, what on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. And his deduction is that a sudden seagull flew in through the wall and distracted him so much that he decided to not write this stuff anyway. It has nothing to do with the murder, right? Like, I can't handle how endlessly stupid this kinda is. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Maybe be precise to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, nado nado, I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters of which I can read precisely none. Ahahaha! So, what was all that showing off about before then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it for you, Mr. Moron. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 AM, I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 AM, what looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilation grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard of that expression before. Ventilator grill, you say. The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Honestly, I'm amazed he got that. Like, he's that dumb. like, there's dumb as rocks, and then there's the consulting detective over there. Yes, the adjoining cabin. A diary Kazuma was keeping of his trip to London. According to the last entry he made before his death, he spied what appeared to be a speckled band. I mean, we made the snake reference earlier, so what? Was he bitten to death by a rattlesnake or something? So I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Ah, do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Yeah, otherwise what would have been the point of the intro dialogue? I mean, it could be just subversion, but yeah, what would have been the point indeed? Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate, hence the truth will become clear soon enough. But honestly, what could easily also happen is that because of the story that Mr. Moron here has been involved in, he might be obsessed with the idea of the poisonous snake, and will then try to, like, convince the court or whatever that Naruhodo here committed the crime with said poisonous snake, with no evidence, with no snake, with no brain, with no logic, with nothing, and just keeps on going on and on about that, while we actually find out the speckled band was, who the hell knows, like a wristband or whatever. Like, it could also be that, though. Like, who knows, right? That's how the game works. Yeah. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? Well, that would be somewhat complicated. What? Why? A simple glance at your wrists should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No, honestly I shouldn't be, but there we are. There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place, based on nothing. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as a culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Moron, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal. You know, not really. So what, we're looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was the then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Ryu has criminal knees, right? Ah ha 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 ha. Now it's just being plain rude. I think it was always rude, but there we are. And so is the lady there. Clank! Hi! Welcome, I hope you've had an excellent weekend and week and day and hi. And I am honored to have you here. We are witnessing the character assassination of Sherlock Holmes. It's quite something. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? Huh? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue you're willing to give up? Honestly, I mean, I think it was Ironimp who suggested we just like crawl back into the closet and just not bother with this. I'm kinda in that boat, yeah. After the rudeness of Susato and of the moron detective, yeah. Closet nap sounds about right. Actually, yes. You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? I mean, you seem hell-bent on having me accept it, so, you know. As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I always wanted a nap spot in the closet. Yeah, it could be really interesting. Like, it would be nice and cozy and dark and not too much light comes in, so you can sleep probably pretty well and just make it soft and everything, you know? I must acquire a massive closet for this purpose. Yes, I think we've reached the real moral of the story here. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. Bed tired, closet nap wired, exactly. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. And perhaps make sure that neither the character assassination of Sherlock Holmes nor the, like, she has impressive judo throws, but she is a danger to humanity with her, like, just both violence and attitude of pointing fingers of murder. So we need to just fix this problem at some point for sure. Oh boy. Excuse me? What? I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind if I investigate a little outside? grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry. The criminal asking prison guard to help him escape? Very funny. We're in the middle of the sea, there's no chance of me escaping. Niet! You stay in this cabin until next port. Then it is up to Hong Kong police to decide what they do with you. You stay. Alright. There's no point in trying to appeal to this man's better nature, that's for sure. Alright. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. It is quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. Not a big bolt. You need a lot of power to break that much, like if it's like steel or iron. The smooth animation is almost worse than the choppy animation of the other games, well, it's expressive. Clank, the problem is the difference is like just 3D models. It's a 3DS game, remember, and it's then up rest from there. So it's you win some, you lose some when you do the transition, you know. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel. The culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Oh, look over there. So they are 3D models. Yes, absolutely. The crewman, you mean? He wasn't there before, was he? I had the same problem when I played through the Professor Layton games. When they went for the first 3D model in those, the art style was it took some getting used to get Professor Layton into a 3D model look. It looked so weird. That's what I thought. Why don't we try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again. I can't help but think she's jealous that Ryu had a closer relationship with Kazuma than she did. Honestly, who the hell knows where her motivations comes from by this point. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't felt feeling I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, it's the extremely incapable detective from the first case. Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes, what can I do for you? I was hoping he wouldn't come along. I really don't really care for this character either. Like, for anyone who's joined in, I've kind of been going on about the problem that since now we're like, again, 7 or 8 hours in, I think, in the game. And everyone grab your masks, yeah. I feel like essentially every NPC is the fool. Like, Ironim said it really well, that you can't write a drama if everyone is the fool, right? And that's kind of what's going on here. Like, everyone, like, all the NPCs, or the vast majority, are gargantuan morons that just meander about these pointless points that are just, like, so overly silly, and they waste so much time on these silly points, and it's just, like, it's hard to really dig in and grab hold of the story and the events, you know? It is. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Oh god. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Can you convince your heart to stop again and just not beat? No. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board the ship. Again? Yeah, stop forever, yeah. You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. Of course he did get special orders, yeah. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. Listen, I think I left the stove on in Japan. Could you jump overboard and swim there and check for me? Yeah? I never expected to see this man on board. I a little bit did, but I had hoped that he wouldn't be here. Perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Aha. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? Probably just classified. Japan is in danger, you must help, yeah. Japan is stuck in the well, go help. Just swim there, and, you know... I'm so sorry, it's classified. This is all my fault, I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. Aha. Japan is in the middle of the ocean by itself, you must go save it, yeah. Wow, what a big kaiju I just started rampaging through Tokyo. Good, then take off the cuffs. I think Asogi is Kazuma's the other name. I forget how first and last names go, but that, you know, the bandana boy's name, Kazuma Asogi, in whichever order it goes. It was Minister of Justice Chikoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. I'm assuming it's the last name because he's being formal and we're being informal, probably. Maybe. Yeah, Kazuma Asogi, and I think the localization has probably taken into account how Westerners perceive first and last names, so that's probably turned around for our convenience to be first name, last name, from left to right, probably. That's my guess. Would make sense with the names, yeah. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even have been a possibility? Because he was secretly Batman. Yes. I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Mr. Jikogu said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Why? Gargling rocks, because I'm Batman, yeah. Because I'm Batman. Yeah. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off of him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. So when will the lady judo throw him and blame him for this, or is the lady just gonna blame me even though I proved I'm not the killer? You know? Good job blowing the cover, but I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin. Not here on the first class. Hold on. And I didn't take my eyes off of him the entire time, except yes, you did all the time. Ugh. That's where I don't like him. I've seen bumbling detectives in these games, but he keeps saying absolute contradictions all the time. He keeps on being like this. Like, I watched him the entire time. As long as we assume that the entire time means 1 second in the time span of 17 years. So I wasn't looking at him for 16 years, 364 days, 23 hours and 59 seconds. But that's just a small window, right? Like, and we meander in these obvious lies so much with this one. Yeah, and the other sailor is still standing there listening to this. The bumbling detective thing kind of works if everyone seems like there's suitable reason to not take them seriously, but then they solve the case Columbo style. That's one way to do it, like indeed Columbo did. In Gumshoe's case, I think it's less... I don't think Gumshoe says a lot of obvious lies. He just has evidence that don't mean what the evidence thinks it means. At least usually. Like, I can't from the top of my head think of at least many instances where Gumshoe is like, I saw this happen, and he's just lying. Whereas this one is just like, I did this, and oh wait, no I didn't. Like, it's always the same thing with this one. The bumbling detective who just says that he did something, and then it turns out he didn't do that at all, but he still claims he did it because lol. Like, it just... I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asoki-san is dead as a result. I am a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. No, not good enough. I think all parties can agree that how you can atone for the disgrace is to perform a jump while holding an anvil into the ocean and counting very slowly to 1,000,000. And then maybe you will be forgiven. It's a possibility. But you need to really, really go for it, you know? Like 1 number per second up to 1,000,000 with anvil in hand in the ocean. I think that's how we reach just the disgrace goes away. Like, Katana over there, seppuku isn't off the menu. Yeah, I was thinking of that too. Like, I hope I'm not coming across too salty. I'm just like, I find it more fun to criticize these characters for how they don't quite, so far, impress me. Like, you know, I just find it more fun to do it that way, since I'm kind of genuinely annoyed by these NPCs. Oh boy. So if there's anything at all I can do to help now, just say the word. Again, go save Japan from the ocean. Swim. That works. For some reason, Gumshoe is endearing, but this guy is just obnoxious, but I haven't seen much of this guy yet. Clank, I fully agree. Like, I've seen this guy for a lot of hours already in the first case, and it was... Like, it's all this, like... Like, he kept on claiming completely contradictory things the entire court proceedings, and we didn't even get to push him on them. As an example, at first he claimed he was ordered to clean up all of the evidence involving suspect A's existence in the scene. Yeah? The next moment he said he never touched anything in the crime scene. He would not go to those levels. So, and that's not how the game doesn't treat that as a contradiction. It's just like, uh-huh. And then in the next scene he says, but he took everything from the scene to preserve the evidence. And I'm like, so, order to take everything to, like, order to clean the crime scene, didn't take anything, but took everything. And then he brings forth the wrong evidence anyway, and I'm like, ugh. And we meander on these points forever, and it's just like, and he kept on going and going about, my investigation is always flawless. I pride myself on my investigation being flawless. Like, he kept on hammering on this point, like he's a von Karma. But he's an absolute bumbling moron who just doesn't... There's nothing endearing about this. It's just... It just doesn't work. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. Can I write this character instead and just make it better? I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer. Well, apparently I'm, 16 assassinations on my belt, revolutionary from Russia, but also from Afghanistan, but sure. Of course not. Would you like to investigate the cabin next door? Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. Of course you are. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. I think you're the bigger risk to the ship's safety, if I'm perfectly honest, my dude. If you moved to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. I might be willing to take that option, though. That or cabin napping. Like, I think we need to actually just weigh our options on this one, though. like choosing between that and talking to more of these people, you know, I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Right. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. A sword? What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. Just tell the sailor that the character assassination of Sherlock Holmes said that the other cabin is the key to finding out the treasure that the sailor is due to inherit or something. And they would just like go go out of the way to let us in. But I don't see how. There may be a way. So Sato, could you just like judo throw the sailor then? Like that's what you do, yes? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san, and you didn't believe me! I proved I didn't do it, and you're like, well, then you must have done it. By presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Which didn't work with you, because you don't believe in reality. Evidence. It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that the Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes, I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can Christmas present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Hold on. this thing, probably. Let's just examine it a little bit. Okay, it's... I can't, like, turn it around. This I can, though. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Probably not, but... Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I, but look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? I think if it's the same one as in the other one, I think it's more like an ice skater or... No, a ballet... a ballet dancer. It's very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I can't understand the text, so... I don't know, I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you noticed this article. Dude, you're in the other room! You're not in here with us! You're not here! He left into the other room... Alright. Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Moron. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina, he saw through the vent and poofed over, yeah. Of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She's of course the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? I do hope that her name isn't the pun on the Pavlovian dog, like she makes men drool. I hope that's not the pun, but... you know. It would appear that the woman is in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room. Wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Hold on, I'm doing some calculations here. Ba 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 ba. Let's see, that would be... It's kind of hard to, like, I'm not an expert on like the inflation of the ruble, but it sounds very low, is my answer. But who knows? Like, if we convert the rubles into dollars and try to use like dollar inflation from the late 1800s, that's like some 7,000, 700,000, 100, 200. Again, it's by no means the same thing because different currency is like inflation isn't the same in everything. No. Like, I'm just like trying to think of a ballpark idea, and that sounds low, but my knowledge on historical ruble inflation isn't really my forte, but it just doesn't sound, I don't know, much. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure. Must be an unbelievable sum of money. It might be unbelievably low. Sato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Right. An article on the back page of a Russian newspaper, the headline reads, "Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai." So I think that's essentially the... Yeah. I feel like we've been through this before with this. I don't think that's super relevant. Alright, so... What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, "What looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilation grill." A speckled band? That is strange. So it looks like it would be $650 to $650K today. Oh, really? Alright, that's more like it. Yeah, I didn't want to like spend 15 minutes trying to like Google the exact like inflation of rubles, but yeah, alright. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that, but what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me, the ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. Oh boy. The ventilator clearly joins the next door cabin. That's right, so if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the Speckled Band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really, you're going to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? Ahem, ahem. I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin. Select move. Objection, I doubt. Yes, me too. I'm pressing objection to doubt. Yes. Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Alright. SS Buria. There we go. First class passageway. 9th of January, 7:48 AM, SS Buria, first class, cabin passageway. Phew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on this study tour by the government. It's a ship, yes. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. The economics of Russia aren't something I'm well enough versed to even comment, except to say that, as you might imagine, moving from monarchy to a state industrial communism to whatever you prefer to call the country now makes tracking their fiat currency non-linear. Okay, only worth about 8,000. Okay, so I wasn't that far off with my really quick estimation of like 7,100, right? Cool. Yeah, I think currently it's like it's essentially how can I put this? What exactly do we call it in Finland? Hold on, give me a second. It is a how do I translate this? It is a semi-presidential republic, I guess. Semi-presidential federal republic is essentially how I think that's essentially called. Not very high on actual democracy though. Even still, Semi, did someone cut the president in half? I think the point being that the president can't like rule everything in the rule of law itself. They need to go through their the Duma or whatever it's called, I think. Which, I mean, I'm not saying that like what the president wants will happen, but in the letter of the law, they still need the lawmakers to like stamp out the stuff, you know. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. There's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous. I think it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, even if he's sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose, like people in handcuffs? Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop from the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Not as trying as trying to speak sense to you and consulting Detective Moron and Hasunaga. Like, good God. Please don't give me that pitying look. Alright. This looks like the plan of the SS Burya. It shows each deck. Look. The Burya is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? I presume she's gonna say magic. Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. Displacement, yeah. The islands of Japan. Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea ever since the gods created them. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, no, that's not how it works. I mean, my guess of her answer is honestly pretty close. Right. Let's go with that. Yeah, they are not floating. That like that. Yeah, that is oh boy. That's a huge book on top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like a ship's log. Let's try to explain plate. Let's not try to explain plate tectonics to her. Yeah. Shall we have a little look through it? Or will you like judo throw me into Arnold over there? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. We'll be here for years, yeah. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. It's like dinner, right? Yeah, that's what it is. You put a fork in a plate tectonic and then you have a good time. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Okay. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although, they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what's called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like. Depends on the cheese, I suppose. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really, but... I suppose you're right. Unless you're very sneaky about it. You weren't actually going to try, were you? Door, window, porthole? I thought I saw it go light blue. Maybe. All I have had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. There are some graphical glitches here and there in this one. Like when I started the first case, the black screens like flashed in color every once in a while in a way that they weren't supposed to. So, what do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? So we aren't Phoenix Wright. No, we are Phoenix Wright's distant ancestor from the 1890s, called Ruinosuke Naruhodo, or something like that. That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says press only in times of emergency. Right. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in a worse situation. Is there a worse situation? Really? Truly? I wish everything would just stop. This ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. I don't know, I feel like more eyes on this situation couldn't hurt given the pool we have so far. Yeah. True. You know, if you're about to do something foolish, do something that only hurts yourself, coming from the lady who judo threw me around the room based on no reasoning. Just saying. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever is in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Your belly button's showing. Oh, excuse me, we need to get inside the cabin here. We left the kettle on, you see. It's important. The sailor's eyes speak volumes. They're clearly saying, keep out. That's what I wrote on the sign. That's what I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors. Although this man's version is definitely more effective. It doesn't look like he's going to let us pass. That's a problem. Okay. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin, it's Kazuma-sama's. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? A problem world record, yeah. These cabins are the finest on the ship. We can solve with violence. Yeah, sure. I mean, we have a katana in the room. We could just, like... My own cabin in steerage is number 539, by the way. 500 and... How many cabins are there? Honestly, it was a happy typo. I liked it. That's the way to the second class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle for the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Does he have a gun? Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. Yes, just shoot you in the leg. Yes, sorry. No, I started it with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Honestly, I think if Kazuma knew the bundle of morons I have to work with, I think he would understand though. I think Kazuma would come to realize that it's the better choice to just like leave it be. Okay, okay. So, excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer? No, I have not murdered any stowaways. That's someone else. I don't think the sailor even needs a pistol. He just has a case of the European gigantism. Yeah. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You? Little third-class lady's maid? Oh. We seem to have caught this sailor on a bad day, Sato-san. I am not Sailor. My mother gave me name. Is it Fifi? I am senior crewman Beef Stroganoff. Oh, Jesus. Well, that's a way to go, yeah. Whew. The best thing is to just avoid eye contact, I think. Pretty beefy, this is true. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in finest part of Buria steamship for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaways inside. Stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next door to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? I'm gonna say da. He's pasta. Right. Shisato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's throw Russian for yes. Or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. I know, it is the tantalizing cabin. It is quite something, yes. And who is this passenger? Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next door to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. I'm trying to think of a good pun there where it's I feel like it's going for a pun, but I can't quite, like, crimes by Roylott? Like, is it a Poirot thing, or like crimes by Poirot? I don't know. He's very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? I do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly students from insignificant Far East islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important, is that right? That is not your business. How are you not dead from dehydration? Good question. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Duh, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about Student Boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? An important mystery to solve once we get to the bottom of this murder. Yeah. Niet. Sato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual, nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way. I said no. Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. You mean he didn't look you in the eye? This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second-class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Time to put some wings on a pig! Somehow. Good, now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. So he just, like, leaves when we oh, okay. Or not. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. Yes, a ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. I mean, surely consulting detective character assassination is in there. Wasn't that the point of where he went? No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Why haven't you just looked through the vent to the other room? No idea. What was that? It came from the inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Moron! It shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please wait, Mr. Moron. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What prey can I kick? Your face? Typing hard with a wrist brace. Ah, I see. I have you mentioned why wrist brace? And I hope everything's okay. My memory is not great, especially these days. 9th of January, SS Buria, first class, cabin number 2. Who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there is nobody but me in this cabin. I haven't, and it is. I just have bad wrists, and today it was tweaked a bit. Okay, I hope it untweaks itself right quick, and for a speedy recovery. Yes. True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. I think it's a disguise and it's not an old man. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now. Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott. Grimsby Roy. I just can't place one. Yes, that's me, and you are? I'm the one and only, the actual idiot moron. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. I'm a great detective among great detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card. Should be good by tomorrow, and thank you. Okay, cool. Glad to hear. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So, might I be so bold to ask you to open that small traveling case? The one and only idiot moron. I cannot bring myself to call him the name that's written there. The character assassination of the actual fictional character is so blatant. I gotta let my true emotions flow, you know? What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? So Grimsby Royal is an actual Sherlock Holmes. Character. Okay. There we are. Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not, traveling inside one's trunk? Don't look at me. Oh my, did you just see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Is it wrong of me? Is it wrong of me to kind of hope that Janky Sherlock gets shanked by a fugitive Cossack? Yeah, not really. Or ganked, whatever. Yeah, I think that's understandable. Yes, the case just shook. Leave now, otherwise I'll call the steward. Leave or I will grab the scissors. So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimesby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. Well, he's the man from the well, he's related to the newspaper for sure, somehow. With scissors, no less, yeah. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. What do you think you're doing? I'm checking for clues. Ah! This is my cabin, get out! Could we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? For shame, do not use his greatest name in reference to this moron. Yeah. What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. Doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps a great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. We'll see. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Moron? You need only address me as Moron. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Moron, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh, and it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on, for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. Why do you assume... So, why does Moron assume this one is Russian, since he assumed I was Russian and Kazuma was Russian? Like, for everything Mr. Moron knows, he should assume, believing blindly the sailor outside, for example, that he's, for example, an Englishman or an Irishman or some other Westerner. Like, or maybe he thinks that he's from Furlandia because he has fur on his face and hats. Like, you know. Or perhaps he's from Greenland because he is trying to hide his green eyes with black sunglasses. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? A katana? Why? The truth, of course. No. Not really, no. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please! Well then, what you're about to see may well astound you. for I'm about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time it occurs to me, is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you or anyone. That's right. And Mr. Sholmes? I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Shh. I must have complete silence. The truth disturbs me. Logic also throws me off. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one. Logic makes me cry, yeah. Your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn is that you must take a number two. You are, at this very moment, no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime of not having shaven in a while. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Evidence is anathema, right? Does it not? Ugh. Oh, Naruhodo-san, I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Moron's great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction. Nothing can deceive Mr. Moron. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What ineffable twaddle. Oh yes, I read about it countless times in The Adventures of Idiot Moron. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of its great deduction firsthand. It is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color has drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How? How could you? How could I possibly know such things? You wish to say? Very well then, I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery that is aboard the train of reasoning. I feel like being on a train with you is not safe. I think I'll take the next one, thanks. That wasn't deduction, that was wholly jumping to conclusions, Batman. Yeah, like, Clank, you should have seen what he deduced about my character, who is coming from Japan, was as a stowaway traveling because the victim himself asked him to, like, or, you know, me, to travel on this boat to England. And Mr. Idiot Moron here stepped in, took a glance at me and deduced that I was Russian, who had just been in Afghanistan, has 16 assassinations on my belt, and is a revolutionary, based on, I believe it was nothing. So Yeah. And I'm not joking either. That's what he said, and I'm like, cool. And it was a great start to a complete character assassination of one of the great literature works of the Western world. So, yeah. Topic 1, Old Man's Identity. So the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? Maybe he has a sheep with him. The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. His character is successfully an idiot. Writers did a good job of making him insufferable. Yeah. And the problem is, there's many of those characters, and like, see, Clank, I have started to feel, indeed, as I mentioned before, like, there has been quirky characters in Ace Attorney before, but there's been just enough of intelligence, smart characters, reasoning, and all that good stuff to sort of balance out the quirky, like, the bumbling fools, the quirky weird ones, but there's, like, you know, Franziska von Karma, possibly an evil lady, probably, but a smart cookie. No denying that part. The smart as F cookie, yeah? Miles Edgeworth starts out a little bad, character arc, but smart cookie all the way. Like you know, a reasonable guy. Phoenix is like, you know, the straight man in the joke, essentially, if you will, when there is one. And Maya is like the sort of, you know, the essentially, how can I explain this? Maybe not very knowledgeable, but enthusiastic, and has a special power that is extremely helpful, and tends to be at least well-meaning, if nothing else. And I think likable is a really good word for her. Like, you know, makes mistakes and stuff, but still. In this one, it's like every character is a combination of Mo the Clown and the ignorant lion tamer and the ventriloquist from the circus case in the Justice for All game, in how idiotic they are. Like, they're all absolute, like, they cannot reason in any way. Be it a prosecutor, be it the witnesses, be it Mr. Idiot Moron here, being the detectives, and even like Gumshoe in the other game. Yeah, he's a bumbling fool, but not only is he well-meaning, but I think his incompetence is more about not quite understanding what evidence means, but he still doesn't tend to lie. Like, he's not like, I did do this or did not do this. Yeah? But in here, it's all just like massive idiots being obnoxious and almost nothing else. And it's just like, it just doesn't have a balance to it so far. Gonna be that guy for a sec. Formal epistemology and logic. Everything called deductions are actually inductions. Inductive logic is qualitative and draws on high probability inference, whereas deduction is deconstructing the reason why something is self-evidently true in quantifiable fashion, i.e. math or hard quanta. That is, you are not incorrect there. Edited people in fiction tend to call deductions are induction, which is what I'm getting. Yeah, like, I know that they are not actually deductions in proper Queen's English. That is true. There isn't nearly enough data to be induction. No positive traits or balance out the negative traits. Rusty old mind. Yeah. In any case, it's not deduction is the point. Yeah, I know. You were on the verge of using, like, I forget the exact words that was used, but I believe I heard that in QI as well, yeah. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now moving on. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article. Had to will, actually. Yeah, you know. I mean, it was a fitting will, actually, in that sense, for sure. Which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. Yeah, I noticed that one, yeah. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, "Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. A revolutionary on the run is what that said. Topic 2, wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ha! And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. Murder of one idiot, maybe. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes, yet at that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, one slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited for a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. Maybe it wants privacy, maybe. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. There is another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. There we have it. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. Oh yeah, we all just busted in here when we were trying to shave. Yeah. Thus concludes Sherlock... I'm sorry. Thus concludes Idiot Morons' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elementsky. Right. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Moron's brilliant deductions, you know? But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Moron, could you come over here a moment? We're playing as Rui Osuke Naruhodo. Yeah. So not that one, no. Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions, would you mind? Not at all, go on. Well, to start with, there's a newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but... These two men look nothing like each other. Ah yes, I recall our discussion earlier, and at the time I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Moron, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into that case, even if you pushed really hard. That sounds like experience, but I'm not judging. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain litheness in their bodies. Litheness? Whatever. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case. Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Moron. This whole thing is turning into a circus. I think it'd been a circus the whole case, and most of the last one too, to be honest. Mr. Naruhodo, something occurred to me about Mr. Shom's deduction. Mr. Moron's deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of a matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seems a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Mr. Sato. It's just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some key words in his deductions? Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Moron's great deduction. Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times I wonder how anyone puts up with me. Ahahaha. I don't. Ah, and you, my good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists? Huh, where are your handcuffs? Huh? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Moron, you're a marvel! And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Idiot Moron is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction, hold it, Mr. Moron. So, the dubious-looking Russian Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in the hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either. Which means I suppose that the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a key word here, Naruhodo-san, and see if it helps matter. I'm, like, with all the respect in the world, I'm amazed that they wrote the lady character. I'm terrible with these names, but the lady character, I'm amazed that they wrote her to understand that Mr. Idiot Moron is wrong. Because that was not the direction she was going with the entire case so far. Like, she was willing to believe that Torinosuke is Russian and has been in Afghanistan, is a 16-time assassin and a revolutionary. Based on exactly this kind of stuff. I'm amazed they went in the direction of her seeing light. And redemption arc maybe? They better get a move on it, because these characters, man, jeez. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long hard look at Mr. Roylott. I wonder if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on. Exactly, if we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Moron's deductions better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san. I'll do a quick safety save, because I feel like it might be required here. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really going to use those enormous shears for? Can I move around? Yeah. That is a beautiful blonde set of hair you have. So I mean, I assume it's obvious that Roylott is the ballerina herself, yes? But like, you know. It's a very thick hat, isn't it? Ah, that's the secret you see, Naruhodo-san, don't you know? Secret? What? It's been fun to riff on it with chat and yourself, though. Yeah. Don't suppose he was cutting that curtain rolled, Speckled Band? Yeah, I was wondering about the curtain, but I don't think the game lets me highlight the the background on that one. The hair, yeah, probably. Russia is a land of unimaginable cold, and a thick hat is the secret to keeping warm. Without one, I read your brain would freeze. That was just one of many fascinating snippets of information in Oh Mother Not Russia. Right. I think you maybe picked up the wrong book there. Golden locks. What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No, the color is not the point. The point is, what is it doing on the back of Mr. Roylot's head, and how is it growing out from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true, so it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here.
Yes!
Yes! You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all, you're a woman, and judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one still very much in her youth. Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Needs some further clarification. The evidence of real identity is the article about the revolutionary. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise. Naruhodo-san, you're enjoying this, aren't you? I could see this having potential, but I need to talk so much less to idiots to get this thing going, you know? Like... Sorry? You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts with Mr. Moron. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business, no strictly... Yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Moron's deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true, given that Mr. Roylott is actually a woman. Exactly, he, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now. Yes, let's switch the evidence for something else, something that fits the facts as we understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Yes, we have. Alright, I'll do my best.
Yes!
Yes! Article about ballerina. Her voice didn't tip them off. Well, you know, maybe she's a very, very skilled voice actress. That's right. She may have a voice talent. That's right, you've hit the nail on the head. Maybe she has an impeccable Batman voice. You just never know. A renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina, Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Ah! And she fell on those scissors and died. Oh no! You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg of you, don't tell anyone. And then the wrongdoing bit. Alright. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ha! And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where your furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes, the traveling case. This woman is a ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside the traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? Hi, can't see I'm going to have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Moron? Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Proof of your crime... She killed 16 people to get here. Yeah.
Yes!
Tiara. The proof of your crime is this tiara. Ah! I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Allegedly, yeah. Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it is an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you have committed is theft. Oh no! Yes, you left your ballet troupe unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. Ah! I have no one, no family, no friends. Or approximately 7,500 MSRP. I'm alone and I need money, but I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me. You mean a Jarl? You know, well, an Earl, you know, where... This girl is only 15 years old, and she... Now I'm confusing myself. It's been so long since I've heard that word in its proper form. In any case, Jarls are in Skyrim. Whatever. This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I will tell you everything. There is no point in hiding it now. Come, let's not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? But what do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. All her hentai is in there, right? That sounds about accurate. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case even before I have even laid eyes on them. Dear me. We are not both to the life of crime, are we? Our careless cube delay betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your fertile glance to find the answer. The reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the books on the shelf. He's completely changed tack with this deduction now. I think Mr. Moron is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? Just a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem like the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still. Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction, and I noticed it myself. Then, there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same area if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree. That's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case... I mean, boundaries, yeah. Should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. The pet rule, and there's a cat or something in there. Weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. There.
Yes!
Yes! It's reason why refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move on its own accord. I mean, if a lady has a trunk that's vibrating, I think boundaries. Just saying. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case. Is the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel rules of passage a pet? Ah! There. Elementary. Indeed. I think that mechanic seems fun, but good God, reaching there was like pulling teeth at points. Alright, so clearly you aren't who you said you were. No, I am not Grimsby Roylott. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel. Which couldn't have been easy. The Buria is a huge steamship with vast crew. Could you really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And if you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. Hair is no trifling matter to anyone. That's general. Like I feel hair is important to me. That's for sure. My personal recommendation is to leave Vol alone. So if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tinkling of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. Well, I can't talk. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself, so no one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man? I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper. Right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and... At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? Things do indeed happen like that from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You were right. It's my dear friend inside, my only friend in the whole world. Please don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew, your secret is safe with us, I assure you, but in return, you must tell us in as much detail as you can muster about the events of last night. Yes, alright, I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, wasn't it something, Mr. Moron's great deduction? It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, yes? What? The shackles. Whatever. Observe your wrists. Yep, called it. My... Ah, your hands are cuffed again. What? But how? True to my word, I have restored your shackles. When? And why? There's still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment. Can't it? Really? I kinda agree. I feel like I proved that I wasn't the killer from second one. So, you know, the reality isn't a thing to these people. Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what this Speckled Band that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was. Alright. What happened? Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. She just likes handcuffs, and so does Mr. M, sure. If this is just a snake, it's been a long walk. Oh yes. It better be the tail of a cat or whatever that we get something odd about this or whatever, because good god. That's why we were trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking. Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened. Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. Running away. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet. Yes. I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from there I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life. You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder. But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes, and the crew of this ship, they had all been kind to me. They let me come on board and they said I could hide in this cabin. If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo? Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation to what this conundrum... Like, why would she feel the need to disguise herself if the crew is like, yeah, you can be here, fine. Conundrum. Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Buria stopped by no port last night. Ah, that's it, of course. So how is it, pray, that you come to be aboard? Maybe she's lighter than water and there's like... Or maybe she... sorry. Maybe she walks on water and just that's how it works. She's Jeebus. Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard. Not your business. I'm not sure strangely, but okay. Yes, you're right, he did seem to be hiding something. Or right, the part where he wouldn't look them in the eye or whatever. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry? What was that? It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel. I'm gonna say, my guess about her being Jeebus was pretty close again. I'm on a roll today. Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Mr. Moron once said, I never can resist the touch of the dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once I said about myself. Yeah, great. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement from The Adventures of Idiot Moron, in fact. Yes, Mr. Shoei. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. friend? What about friend? So the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh, please don't tell. Don't tell any of the crew. If they found out my if they found my precious, then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. Ah! So reassuring, Mr. Moron. But what sort of pet is your friend? Little puppy? It is, isn't it? Maybe an adorable little rabbit? Ha! You create Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may well ask. I have no idea. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken. Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you'd eat your friends, I'll remember that. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed. Ahahaha. She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to just shed some light on it. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died, something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. what looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh. Miss Pavlova, has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? No. I don't know anything. Oh. Excuse me, Mr. Royloft. Yes, what? Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please. Alright, I will come now. What? You must leave, now. Oh no, it's fine, don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry about yourself, Mr. Roylott. Get out! The passenger said out, or do you want me to throw you out? Ugh. Looks like we'll have to leave in investigating this cabin until later. What a pity. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. Let's just say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. To be continued. Alrighty.